You've been told heat kills because it's hot. That's the part that's wrong. And once you see the number your weather app is hiding from you, every heat wave headline reads differently. The temperature on your phone describes the air, not what the air is doing to your body. In the summer of 2022, Europe recorded around 61,000 heat-related deaths. In 2026, a severe heat wave led to thousands of excess deaths across Western Europe, with Germany alone reporting over 5,100 heat-related deaths. Most of those places never touched 50 degrees Celsius. Plenty never even hit 45. But in India, people sip hot chai under 47 degrees Celsius summer skies. Yet the country has never experienced a heatwave death toll anywhere near Europe's. Therefore, the danger was never living in the digits. The answer is hiding in a second number your weather app never shows you: wet bulb temperature. Here's the trick your body runs constantly. You sweat, the sweat evaporates, and evaporation rips heat straight off your skin. You are quite literally a swamp cooler made of water. But evaporation only works if the air is dry enough to accept more moisture. Now pump that air full of humidity, and the sweat just sits there, useless. So 40 degrees in muggy air can shut you down faster than 50 in a bone-dry desert, because in the desert, your sweat still works, and in the swamp, it quits on you. Push the wet bulb past roughly 35 degrees, and it stops mattering how young or fit you are. A healthy adult, in the shade, with water and a fan, still cooks from the inside out. The real question was never how hot is it, it's can you still sweat? And in parts of Europe last summer, the answer was no. But that opens a darker question. How does you can't sweat actually turn into you're dead? It almost never happens the way you're picturing. You probably imagine someone dramatically collapsing in the street. The reality is quieter and sneakier. When you overheat, your body panics and floods blood toward your skin to dump heat, which means it robs blood from your heart, brain, organs. Your blood thickens. Your heart starts pounding overtime just to keep up. So most people a heat wave kills don't die of heat on paper at all. They die of heart attacks and strokes, and that's what the death certificate says. The heat wave pulls the trigger. The heart takes the blame. It's why the true toll is always bigger than the headlines. The bodies get filed under other names. And the cruelest version of this? It doesn't come for you at noon. It comes for you while you're asleep. Because a lot of Europe's deadliest days weren't even that humid, so humidity can't be the whole story either. Here's the piece nearly everyone misses. Heat doesn't do its killing at 3 in the afternoon. It does it at 3 in the morning. Your body can survive a savage peak if it gets to cool off and recover overnight. That's your reset button. But when the low never drops below 20 degrees, what scientists call a tropical night, the reset never fires. You wake up already overheated, and then the next day stacks its heat on top of a body that never emptied yesterday's. Your organs are pulling a double shift with no break in between. Therefore, the real killer isn't the height of the spike, it's the floor that never falls. And that floor is quietly rising across the whole continent. But there's a reason it lands so much harder on Europe than the Gulf, and that reason is sitting in almost every window in Dubai. Air conditioning. In the UAE and Saudi Arabia, AC isn't a luxury, it's load-bearing infrastructure in something close to 100% of homes. In Europe, depending on the country, only about 10 to 20% of households have it. Germany, France, the UK, mostly cracked windows and a spinning desk fan. Now, sit with that gap for a second. A 45-degree afternoon in Dubai happens to people inside cooled rooms. The exact same afternoon in Rome happens to people with nowhere to run from it. Inside is the oven, outside is the oven. But before you decide this is only about who's rich enough to buy a box that blows cold air, it isn't. Because even if you handed every European an air conditioner tomorrow, two problems wouldn't budge, and the first one is baked into the streets themselves. Look at how these cities were actually built. Traditional Indian architecture was designed to survive brutal heat. Thick walls, reflective surfaces, central courtyards, and strategic ventilation. But much of Europe was engineered for long, freezing winters. We're talking dense, narrow streets, small windows, airtight rooms, and extreme insulation designed to trap and hoard warmth. That's genius in January. In August, it's a thermos that drinks in sun all day and breathes it right back at you all night. It's why German train tracks buckle and roads melt at temperatures that wouldn't faze infrastructure in India or the Middle East. Europe's dense masonry creates an urban heat island, making the city center several degrees hotter than the fields outside it. The city becomes a machine that refuses to cool down. But it isn't working alone up there. The sky is in on it too. Because Europe's geography quietly loads the gun. These heat waves usually arrive as a heat dome, a giant lid of high pressure that parks itself overhead and just stops moving. We saw the ultimate, devastating version of this with the 2026 megablock. This wasn't just a passing warm front, it was an atmospheric fortress. A massive blocking pattern gridlocked the sky, trapping a boiling mass of stagnant air over the continent, while the jet stream was forced to detour around it. No storms to break the tension, no clouds to block the sun. And here's the part almost nobody connects. Because it's high-latitude summer, the sun stays up for 16 hours a day, pouring energy into that stone for far longer than a short tropical day ever could. The desert gets a hot afternoon, and then the sun clocks out early. But under a megablock, Europe gets a hot day that won't leave, won't move, and won't turn off the lights. So the same 40 degrees gets more hours to do more damage. And all of it, the dome, the stone, the endless daylight, is landing on exactly the wrong people. Because look at who actually lives in those uncooled stone apartments. Europe has one of the oldest populations on Earth, with median ages north of 45 in places like Italy and Germany. And that matters enormously, because as you age, your body gets worse at the exact trick we started with, sweating, and even sensing that you're in danger. Older bodies feel thirst later, sweat less, and often don't realize they're overheating until they already are. Europe isn't dying because it's hot. It's dying because it's unprepared. Its bodies, its buildings, and its nights were all designed for a cooler world that has quietly stopped showing up. The desert is deadly and ready. Europe is milder and defenseless beats deadly every single time. So here is the takeaway. Heat waves don't kill with record numbers. They kill through surprise. The deadliest places in a warming world aren't the hottest, but the ones that still think they're cool and never built the AC or infrastructure to cope. You know the boiling frog story? Put a frog in cold water, slowly turn up the heat, and it just sits there until it cooks. It's a complete myth, of course. Actual frogs aren't that stupid. But humans? But why do we expect our local weather to be permanent? Earth's climate has never stayed in one lane. Thanks to our planet's orbital wobble, the phenomenon that causes the angle at which sunlight hits different parts of the planet to change over a 26,000-year cycle, the Sahara Desert used to be a lush green landscape, and one day it will be again. Ever wonder if your consciousness is actually unified? In my previous video, I dive into the 5 states of the human mind, from flow states to the strange phenomenon of alien hand syndrome, where your own hands act against your will. It's a fascinating, quick look at the machinery behind your reality. Check it out. And if you enjoy this, please like and subscribe.